Introverts, how did you meet your girlfriend? I was kinda girl crazy starting in first grade. I usually had a few crushes in each grade. But I was just too shy to really ever talk to a girl. The few times one of my crushes talked to me I just froze up and could barely get a word out. 10 years pass with me obsessed with girls but never so much as even holding hands with anyone. Finally my junior year in high school, I knew this was the year I had to do it. I vowed this was the year I would get a girlfriend. A couple of weeks pass and a certain girl gains my interest. She sits on the other side of the class, so at first I don't see her, just see her hand raised when she answers the teacher's question. She and I are the only two students who seem to put forth real effort of doing well in class. Interest increases. When class is over I make sure to see her. A few days pass, with each day I am more impressed with her personality. She seems smart and down to earth, very kind and outgoing. I decide I want to ask her out. At end of class I meet her outside, introduce myself and ask her what she likes to do for fun. She says she likes reading sci-fi. I tell her I do too and we talk about exchanging books. We say our goodbyes and see you tomorrows. I am smiling ear to ear. I can't believe I have met a cool interesting girl and we have something in common. 17 years later and we are married with 3 kids. At an SF convention, she was putting up a notice for a closed party, deck employees only. I helped her push the thumbtack into some hardwood, asked if I could come. She said no. I crashed the party. Coming up on 30th anniversary now. Introvert here, still single. Maybe our story could be meet on a Reddit thread about introverts meeting their girlfriends. Smile. I became a professional salsa dancer, which forced me out of my shell. Her dance partner couldn't perform for a show, so I filled in. We had dinners after our training sessions and hit it off. I taught her for a year before we started talking. Lived in a house with some friends that would always have parties. Never liked to go to them, so when I would come home from work I would go straight to my room and not come out, as introverts do. Went out during one party to grab a glass of water and bumped into her and we hit it off from there. The time will come, just keep on doing what you're doing. She started talking to me over Facebook. We talked for about a year on Facebook, both too scared to approach each other in person, besides the odd awkward, shaky conversation. Eventually, she asked me to meet her at a bus stop to prove I really liked her. So I walked up, hands shaking, and could see her already sitting there waiting. I sat down and we made out for 20 minutes. All my nervousness vanished. Then we sat at that bus stop for the good part of the day talking and laughing. That was 5 years ago and I now live with her. This thread gives me hope. My now wife had lived next door to me and came over to ask for some sugar for baking. We had never met before that. She only knew the house next door was single guys renting. I gave her some sugar and the next day she left a cheesecake at my doorstep as a thanks. I had to return the Tupperware. I later found out she had lots of sugar in the house. What girlfriend? Lol. I was born with this hand. When I was 12 I joined a YouTuber fandom to drool over douchey boys online. This girl Nicole messaged my fan account on Instagram and added me to a group chat with other fans. In that chat I met a girl named Gabby. Gabby and I became close friends and we played a lot of Call of Duty together. Gabby introduced me to her friend Michael that she met on COD, and Michael added his gay witch friend Dean to our party one night. Dean made me, a Christian at the time, scared by telling me about how he can put curses on people and such. I'm an atheist now. I was young, I felt pressure to be his friend. So he and I talked and I ended up actually really liking Dean. He taught me about other beliefs and helped me realize how not for me Christianity was. He also introduced me to his LGBT friends, and taught me more about being gay, which opened me up to the idea that I might not be straight. Spoiler alert, I'm a lesbian, and Dean helped me come out to my friends. After I became a lesbian, Dean introduced me to his friend's cousin Star, who was straight. Her and I talked and had an instant connection. It was almost as if she was my partner in another life. We've talked every day since we met, and basically fell in love with each other. Even though she's straight. Well, was straight. It's been 3 years. We are meeting in July. I drew her on a piece of paper. She doesn't talk very much, unless I draw a comment bubble for her. I didn't. I don't know why I read these threads, they only make me depressed knowing I'm 30 and have never had this. Met her in a high school biomed class but never had the courage to do any more than a little hello and hey what's up here and there. This was sophomore year. Junior year I finally got her number from a class group chat. I eventually find her Twitter because it was linked to her number. That's how I found out we share the same incredible love of Pokemon. Yeah, we're both nerds. Still though, only little conversations here and there. Fast forward to senior year and we actually start talking and hang out at a high school football game. She apparently had liked me since freshman year, and I didn't even know. I finally decided to ask her to be my girlfriend that weekend and, us both being our introverted selves, didn't even realize we started dating. It so happened that when I walked her to her car and we said our goodbyes, we both leaned in for a kiss. It just happened. It was great, and after I stuttered and said, "Guess you could say we're dating now," and laughed. Well, I guess she didn't really understand me and she laughed all nervously and said goodbye. It wasn't until a few days later when I called her my girlfriend that we sorted it out. I love her so much. Lexapro. And after a show, I was about to grab a lift to go home, but my phone was dead, so I decided to grab some food and I somehow started up convo with 2 chicks there. Got one of their numbers and history. We were in music school. She was in a practice room practicing for a piano final. I happened to be right across the hall doing the same thing. I heard her playing something unfamiliar and it made me nervous that I forgot a piece, so I went over and asked her about it. Turns out she was just noodling around. We kept in touch and fast forward to now and we've been married for a year and 5 months. God, I'm so alone. I went to Japan for my junior year of college. This was to be my find myself year. I didn't need to hide from new people for the rest of my life. I let my hair grow out a bit and bought my first pair of contact lenses. I had Coke bottle glasses since 7th grade. Contact lenses were a huge confidence booster for me. Due to some seriously poor travel choices on my part, I had been awake for about 60 hours by the time I arrived at the seminar house in Japan. The seminar house is where all of the international students met before moving out to stay with their homestay families. I arrived late at night and then went to go sit in the television room where small groups of international students were sitting together. I just sat by myself, undoubtedly still in a daze that I had finally arrived, and my future wife came up to me and said, "Hello, my name is Susan, I'm from Louisiana. How are you?" She had arrived a couple of days before me, and had been in a similar situation of sitting by herself. She didn't want anybody else to go through that, so she had been introducing herself to just about everybody. I thought it was entirely possible that I was going to find my future wife when I went to Japan, but I didn't know that she wasn't going to be Japanese. Our 18th anniversary is next month. Never did, probably never will. What's a girlfriend? First real girlfriend, I followed her home and stood outside her house, on the opposite side of the street, for a couple of hours until she came out and asked me what the fuck I was doing. I shrugged and said, "Nothing, what are you, the police?" Or something similar. I was 13. I can't remember what happened next, but I guess she must have invited me in. I was with her for 2 years. All subsequent girlfriends approached me. My wife made all the moves. I flirted back, but she always initiated it and was the one who took it to the next level. I was too shy. Still am, after a decade. I always assumed that, while she might have fancied me yesterday, she could have gone off me today, which makes sex awkward. Haha, girlfriend? I barely have a girlfriend. Blind double date. My buddy met some girl online and she didn't want to meet up with a stranger alone, so she brought her best friend. My buddy needed to bring a friend too so it wouldn't be weird, and so he dragged me along. The girl she brought and I got along great. My buddy and his girl didn't really hit it off. That was 18 years ago. We've been married for 11 years.